My involvement in TROG stems from about 15 years ago when I had full body irradiation for treatment of leukemia. I had a great outcome, but radiotherapy was pretty scary. It's a non-tangible. And I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know how, why, where, and I wanted to find out what patients go through. And I had a very successful outcome, and I decided to give something back. And so joining TROG and being part of the research group and the Consumer Advisory Panel, I can impart some of my knowledge, I think, for the betterment of people coming through cancer treatments in the future. There is a mismatch between consumers and researchers and clinicians, and I think sitting down, talking to researchers, asking them to go through their research and the outcomes they want from their research helps bridge that gap. And consumers can ask those fairly fundamental questions of why you're doing it. Can this be translated to the bench to bedside criteria? We need to get to know each other and work on the same page, because I think a lot of what researchers do is sometimes not in the best in the public interest. It's probably not the cheapest, and the outcomes are not the best. So I think we can fill that void which currently exists. The government does want more and more people to enrol in clinical trials, but they're not prepared to put up some basic subsistence funding to support people to get to these trials. I'm not saying that a patient should receive thousands of dollars to go on a clinical trial. That's inducement and that's illegal. But I think being aware of the impact that the trial can have on the patient and their family as they're going through this trial, we know that, or we're hoping that their outcome will be good, but there needs to be something to fill that gap while they're on the trial. I think Australia and the government and perhaps our political partners need to really step up in the clinical trial space and research space. The Prime Minister's talked about the innovation nation. We have so much innovation in medical research in this country that innovation, well, put forward a few dollars and just let's see how good these medical people and medical research in this country is. We know that we lead the world in cancer survival, so that's got to be a good thing. So I think the combination of engaging consumers and researchers and politicians and clinicians only leads to better outcomes to cancer patients. Look, I think today's been fantastic. Certainly the speakers have really hit the nail on the head. I've attended hundreds of conferences, and I think the speakers don't care about who they're speaking to, they just talk. But every speaker today has targeted their talk to their audience and engaged. They didn't mind people interrupting them to ask questions, and some of the questions that came from the attendants here today have been fantastic. They were good, they were open, they were engaging. It's been very informal, and I think that's helped. So today ticks all the boxes.